What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? It's your boy Chris Style. You are tuned in to the Arrowhead Chief Podcast, episode 134. Hope everybody's having a good Monday afternoon, good Monday morning, depending on where you're at. We got some few things to get into. We got most of the gang up in here today. We're going to get into some things. Let's talk Chiefs.
Yeah, Arrowhead Chiefs. It's your girl, Miss Nicole. Queen of Hustle, baby. Started from the bottom, now we here. My homie at the start of his career. Let's go. Try to warn him early, hear the truth. Tune in every Sunday for the juice. Arrowhead Chief Podcast, bringing all the news. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Chris Style, out here rapping for the crew. Post-game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube. If you missed the play, come back for reviews. Post-game highlights, go subscribe on YouTube.
We are back, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Thank you for everybody who's tuning in. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button so that when we do pop up with our lives, you'll get that notification to know that you could jump in with us, get into the comment section, and talk about whatever we talk about today. So, what's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
I'm chilling, bro. What is this, the last full week without any football news? So I'm ready this week over.
There's been some news.
That's it. That's it after this week. That's it, dog.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. Right now, it's about summer league right now.
Mm-hmm. I ain't been paying attention. Summer league?
Yeah.
Yeah. I ain't got time for that.
Had a good game though. I will say that.
They was trying to write him off like after one game. Like,
but
one freaking game. Like, he's a boss. Get him out of here.
I ain't got time for summer league. Basketball season over in my book.
I hear you.
It's the quiet storm.
Yeah. I feel you.
That's just me.
How you feel about that tournament?
I think it's cool. Brings life to the NBA a little bit. That's what I think. Still don't change the fact he don't play no defense, but
yeah,
it's gonna be cool.
Yeah. We'll see.
Oh, where do you go? You got booted again?
No,
he's switching his laptop. That's what he's doing.
To the laptop. All right, fellas, let's get into it, man. We got some things to talk about. Chief headlines. Now, trust me, I'm tired of talking about this man. He's like the Damian Lillard of the NBA right now. But D-Hop. Now, there was a report today that D-Hop is pretty much waiting for Chris Jones to get his deal done, extension, so he can wait for the Chiefs to get a little bit more money so they can make him an offer. Now, here's my thing about the D-Hop situation. There's pros and cons to it. The pro is that now Travis Kelce won't be so codependent on Travis Kelce. He can get a little bit more rest during the season that he'll be ready for the playoffs. The con is the development of the younger receivers, the Sky Moores, the Rashee Rice, even Justin Ross. If D-Hop joins his team, his chances of making the roster is slim pickings. Like, he would have to have one of the greatest pro season or training camps, preseason games, 100 yards a game for him to even make this roster. So, Mark, how do you feel about the whole D-Hop situation?
I'm right there with you on that. I mean, that's going to impact the development of your receivers, obviously. As far as everybody's talking about, some people had Justin Ross as a sleeper to be able to develop and whatnot. And I pretty much had my mindset like, okay, they're probably set already as far as receiver. I mean, when we talk about the whole thing and him one time with the agent, but man, I mean, I definitely don't want to see that hurt the progression of our young receivers, whether it be the Ross and Rice and, of course, Sky Moore. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I just think if they get this whole Chris Jones deal done this week, I'll tell you what, I'll raise my expectations from a 2% chance to a 10% chance at the very most.
Yeah.
Do I have a preference? No, I think either way is, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. That's what they're going to do. I mean, I don't. It's like I'm not gonna be mad if we get them. If we get D Hop, I'm not gonna be mad if we don't get them. We'll just have to see.
Right.
Is on me?
Yeah, go ahead, Clarence.
I mean, we've already discussed this at nauseum about D Hop coming and what that could potentially provide them with. I mean, think back to was that a couple of days ago we had that conversation about Sky Moore as opposed to MVS? Like, in that room, at some point, there's going to have to be a lead dog at some point. Right. You know what I'm saying? Throughout the course of this year, there's going to be one guy that separates himself. Like last year, that guy was Juju. You know what I'm saying? Like, so within this young core, the question mark is going to be who's going to step up if it's not D-Hop. You know what I mean? But if D-Hop comes, everybody's automatically going to defer to him. He can still beat a double coverage. His routes are still deceptive. He can still get over the top on a secondary in the blink of an eye. He's covering ground like he's a rookie. He still got that. I don't think that him coming sets Rashee Rice's growth behind, because you look at Andy Reid and his history with young guys anyway. Unless Ford come in and he blowing the doors off and you can see a huge separation and he's got it. He's a pro's pro straight out of the gate. More than likely, they're not going to spoon feed him a lot over that first couple of preseason games, the first couple of regular season games. It's going to be a slow progression, much like we saw with Sky last year. So, I mean, I would love to have D-Hop come in, because it takes all the guesswork out of, okay, so who's going to be that lead dog in that room? But at the same time, if D-Hop don't come, that gives that opportunity to Sky Moore, which I think it's only right that his mental should be, I'm finna come in and be that lead dog regardless. Right. For as much as MVS has this history in the league, MVS hasn't been consistently healthy throughout his entire career. I think that's the biggest knock on him is just his health, availability. So I think it has to be Sky that's going to be the one to step up and take that lead role. But again, if D-Hop comes, great. You know what I'm saying? Chris is goes without a doubt that has to get done. You know what I mean? The question is the number that they can come back to D-Hop with, is he going to be comfortable enough to say, I can take this money, potentially go to a Super Bowl and get a ring, and then be able to parlay that this next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because the money will be a lot better, and teams are not going to wait until training camp to get that deal done with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's basically what's on the table right now, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree. Because, if D-Hop comes to the Chiefs and let's say, we go back-to-back Super Bowl winners, next year he could just pick any team. Like, he don't have to go to a Super Bowl contender. He can go sign with the Texans and get the best deal from a bad team or whatever, because he got his ring already. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a solidified Hall of Famer regardless. You know what I'm saying? If he goes to the Texans or the Cardinals, goes back to the Cardinals, or whatever. He goes to a bad team, goes to the Raiders, whatever. He goes to a team that may not be a championship team, but he already got his ring this year, and he put up good, decent numbers with Patrick Mahomes. He could take a lot less, whatever the Titans or the Patriots are offering him. He could take a little bit less from the Chiefs this year to recoup that next year. You know what I'm saying? Because the team see him being good. Because, I mean, look, they signed in guys like Robert Woods and guys like that to be veteran leaders on some of these young cores on these bad teams. That's what D-Hop can be next year to some teams. So
and let me add this too, to piggyback off of what y'all was saying, here's something else to think about with D Hop. This would be the first time throughout his entire career that he would be playing with a marquee quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Even when Kyler was at his height, and Kyler played great those first 2 years that D Hop was there, first year, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. But D Hop, this will be the first time where he's with a guy that is completely making his job 10 times easier. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
The room that's around him has a championship mentality, so availability won't be an issue. Like if an MVS goes down, you know a Sky's coming in there to fill those shoes. You know a Justin Watson is coming in there to fill those shoes. So D-Hop wouldn't have to feel like the pressure's on him, not to mention Travis. You know what I mean? Not to mention Jody and Noah. You know what I'm saying? And what the backfield provides is in the passing game. But D-Hop would actually be playing with a quarterback who is so sound at his position. Doesn't make bad throws, doesn't waste throws, can process the defense quickly and get the ball out of his hands. So D-Hop is not exposed to bad hits. Like, this would be the first time that D-Hop would be with one of those guys. And we would finally get to see just how special D-Hop truly is. Because I don't think even though he's been in the league this long, I don't think we've been able to see his potential since he left Clemson, just because of the quarterbacks he's had to play with.
I mean, Deshaun Watson wasn't bad.
Deshaun was decent. Deshaun was dope. Don't get me wrong. Deshaun was dope, but he's not 15 though. You know?
No, he's not. No, he's not. He's definitely
not
not
like Tom or
And
Aaron.
I think even with the angle as far as what you're going, it's like as far as what we were talking about the Texans and all that stuff. It was basically D-Hop. You talk about Arizona, it was D-Hop. It's like if he goes to somebody like Kansas City and everything, the pressure ain't necessarily on him. It's going to be on Kelsey. It's going to be on 15. He's going to be able to do that. And the beauty of it is he gets to pick his spot. He gets to pick his landing spot. His last two experiences were trades.
And another player that I think this will help out with D-Hop coming over is Kadarius Toney, because now he doesn't have to get that wear and tear on his body. You know, you can preserve him a little bit more. You don't have to worry about hitting them hamstrings, because they were going to look at him as the number one. They've been telling us all offseason, he's the guy. And we all know Veach loved him when he was coming out of the draft. That was you wanted him. But the Giants ended up picking him. But they got him now. But yeah, D-Hop would definitely help a Kadarius Toney health-wise. Now you don't have to depend on him so much. You know what I'm saying? So you can pick your spots with Kadarius Toney. So yeah, I agree. I'm in agreement. Like I said, I'm all for D-Hop coming to the squad. If DeAndre Hop comes to the Chiefs, then
are you with that Hopkins jersey though?
I might have to. Even if it's only a 1-year thing, I might have to.
I'd probably have to.
Yeah, he gonna grab that quick.
Might have to.
Gonna be his profile pic on Twitter and everything. Him just standing there with two thumbs up like Fonzie in his D-Hop jersey.
Okay, I ain't doing all that. I ain't gonna do all that. But all right, fellas, let's switch up a little bit. Now, last week, ESPN put out a thing saying that the Kansas City Chiefs are the best roster in the NFL. Now, right after them, they had the Eagles, they had Buffalo, they had Miami, they had Cincinnati, Dallas, Chargers, San Francisco, Cleveland, and New York Jets. Do you guys agree that the Kansas City Chiefs are the number one roster in the NFL? I'm going to start with you, Clarence.
So they said the Chiefs were the number one roster?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'll buy that. If the only question mark is at tackle, which is a huge concern, but you have veterans. You have, Donovan and Jawan.
Yeah.
you have veterans at those positions, and there's still guys there that can potentially have to step in and man those positions. So while it could potentially be an issue, I don't think it's going to be a huge issue.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, yeah, I would say, yeah, they're top to bottom, best franchise right now, best team. I'll give them that. They've proven it.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mark.
I think it's all in perspective. I mean, depending on which angle you want to come from with it. I believe as far as it's one thing you talk about the roster knowing it's like as far as like based on personnel, and obviously we're going to talk from the perspective, pre D-Hop and all that stuff right now. Do they have the Chiefs labeled as the number one receiving core right now? No, they don't. Do they have them labeled as the number one defensive line right now? No, they don't. They have do they have them having some of the top corners, stuff like that? No. I don't think from that perspective, I'll label them as the number one roster per se, but they're number one in the sense in knowing how to work the roster. That's the perspective that I'm coming from. I'm like, this is like when you have Andy Reid and Spags and everything, they don't have the best as far as with the names on paper, but the fact as far as with the development, that's what's made them great in knowing how to disguise making a team that's supposed to be somewhere in the middle of the pack when it comes to secondaries, and all of a sudden they look good because of the schemes and whatnot. So would I say they're the number one roster? In my opinion, as much as I love the Chiefs, no. But as far as for them to be able to develop it and what all they do, that's what makes them look great. But I will say this, I would say they're probably I'll give them top 5 though, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the Chiefs, and I've always felt like this, and this has always been since Patrick Mahomes has been here. I've always felt like they've always been best rosterized, top heavy wise. Like they have the best quarterback, they have the best tight end. They right now they very well have the best defensive tackle in Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Have I ever felt like they've always like? Of course, you could point to Buffalo or Cincinnati or Eagles. Maybe they have a better top end receiving core, but like you said, Mark, the way they construct their roster and they knowing their team and knowing how to work that roster, they are very well the best team, the best roster in the league because they know what they're doing with their roster. It's just not just throwing a bunch of dudes on the team and saying, we're going to make this work because we got that guy, this guy, and this guy. Kind of like how everybody else, Buffalo did it with Von Miller. Chargers did it getting Khalil Mack on one side and J.C. Jackson and all these other guys, whereas in the Chiefs went a different route. Everybody was zigging, they zagged.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So they was like, nah, we're going to go young. We're going to go get a Trent McDuffie. We're going to get a Jalen Watson. We're going to get a Joshua Williams. We're going to get Brian Cooks. We're going to add a veteran and just
But he said there's 4 teams ahead of them.
Huh?
He said there's 4 teams ahead of the Chiefs.
Who, Mark?
Yep.
I wouldn't say ahead of them per se, but I'll say like they're somewhere in the top 5. It's like as far as like going off the top of my head. I mean, they could be 3, they could be 4. They could. I mean, I don't know as far as in that regards, but I don't think as far as them being the top, as far as from perspective, I don't say that because even so, with the 49, and even so, just look at some of the lists that they put out there and whatnot, especially defensive wise. They weren't even giving Bolton that much respect, which is absolutely crazy.
Watch him. You watch Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
They don't.
But
yeah, we know that.
Because even you would agree, Clarence, that San Francisco's defense is better than the Chiefs' defense.
Last year it was by leaps and bounds, yeah.
The roster, we just talking roster. We're not talking about they're the roster wise.
But we watched the Chiefs, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree because even so, as quiet as
more in depth than what.
As quiet as it's kept, and if they just want to break the argument as far as with the Philadelphia Eagles, how they were talking about, well, if the field was right and all this other stuff because they had the number 1 team in sacks and stuff like that. Well, who was the number 2 team right behind them in sacks too? That's all part of the schematics and what they do with their personnel.
But
that definitely takes account though as far as clearance. Those like the fact that we know and we watch them though. It's like I definitely agree with you to that. It's like but people see what they want to see and they go what they want to go with.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm not mad at them being named the number one team roster in the league because I get it. I get why they're saying that. But I'm just saying if we're being objective over here, we know that San Francisco's defensive line is better than the Chiefs' defensive line, even though Chris Jones is probably better than individually, better than maybe outside of Nick Bosa. Maybe Nick Bosa is on the same level, but other than that, he's probably better than the second and third and fourth guy on that team, But as a collective, Fred Warner is. I mean, we love Nick Bolton, but Fred Warner is better than Nick Bolton, like from an all around perspective. I think it's closer. I hear you, Clance. I think it's closer than what people give credit for. Like
it's a lot closer, surpringly.
I think Nick Bolton is better than. I think Nick Bolton does a lot of things that Fred Warner and a lot of that was the knock on Nick Bolton was his covering skills. I think he's improved that from year one to year two. Like
and Fred Warner's not closing out games with picks.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
He's not closing out division games with picks.
Yeah. No, you're right.
As great as Fred Warner is, and y'all know, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But
I just think from this perspective. Go ahead, Clarence.
Top to bottom right now. I mean, if the standard is the 49ers defense, I don't think there is a huge drop off with the Chiefs defense anymore. Mm-hmm. I think especially now because we've got young guys who have proven themselves. Mm-hmm. It's not like other teams that are in this situation where they got young secondaries and there's a big, huge cloud of doubt over them. Mm-hmm. We actually had these young guys go through an entire year, get to a Super Bowl, and now they're working into their second year in this offseason program with championship pedigree attached to them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that just that alone and the fact that we took an L with losing 55, Frank, but what we get from Amenahue, his versatility alone, for him not to be the typical size that you would want, like closer to a Chris Jones size, just because of the fact that San Francisco kicked him inside on pass downs last year so much. Like, and now he's coming to Kansas City and he's going to be able to do his thing at his natural position. Like that with George, that experience with Kirk, with,
Dana.
that rotation, Mike Dana, who can play rush DT. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole unit as a whole, I think is going to be so much improved. That's why I've been trying to keep this to myself because I don't want to jinx it, but I think this is top 5.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I really think it's top 5.
I do too.
I think that what the scary part about it is, it's like we're talking about, a whole bunch of rookies on that defensive side. Obviously with Karlaftis and mainly the secondary. We did not expect the secondary to progress this fast at all. And obviously, schematically, you're kind of limited because you're trying to get these rookies to game speed and dealing with some of the experience. And you saw, some of it is like even in the Super Bowl, how it was affected. They were a completely different team in the second half of the season than they were in the first. So you're looking at that expectation along with Snead and how he's developed too, because we saw him develop as the season veteran. Not enough people are giving him the respect and talking about what he does.
And it helped them moving off of Fenton so early.
Yep. Them
moving off of Fenton as early as they did, it helped so much because it allowed them to get that playing time that they needed. Because if Fenton would have been here till that 49ers game, after that 49ers game, you're talking about 4 games that they wouldn't have had that experience. Think about who they faced over that 4 game span too. You know what I'm saying? So
Especially that Cincy game where Snead got hurt. I think that was the one, right? Where Snead got hurt. That was what made the difference. It's like we started to see how these developed. Could they rise to the moment? They went beyond the expectations.
The AFC Championship game when he got hurt.
That showed everything I need. I was like, okay.
Yep. Think about it. You lose Snead, and you like, oh, we got McDuffie, Williams, and Watson, like, and Cook. You know what I'm saying? Like, against arguably the best wide receiver room in the league. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. There's no way we can overcome this. It's got to be a shootout because we don't have it in the secondary, and then boom, it happens.
But even so, though, I think prior to that, though, even the first time they played the Chiefs, when the Chiefs played the Bengals in the regular season, obviously they didn't show all their cards. But the fact that they were able just to maintain and stay in that one, I was like, this is a pretty good prelude.
But Snead was out there that game.
Yeah, that's why I was looking. I'm like, I'm not really worried. Some people were in panic mode, stuff like that. I said, I'm not really worried. Even when they were losing to teams like the Bills, it was the fashion that they were losing. I'm like, I'm okay with this game. There's no reason to overreact and be like, oh, they're dropping out.
But that needed to happen because I think Gabe Davis cooked Williams in the first half before halftime in that Buffalo game. And you see he didn't make the same mistakes later in the year. You know what I'm saying? He didn't make the same mistakes against Devontae that he made earlier in the year. You know what I'm saying? Like they grew off of all the mistakes, and that was huge for them. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a kid like homeboy from Virginia Tech coming in.
Oh, Shamari Connor. Yeah.
Now you got him coming in. So if somebody is having a sophomore slump, God forbid, you know what I mean? You got a hungry dude that's waiting.
Even that kid from Ball State that they drafted in the 7th round, Nick Jones. He a ball hawk.
Now they got kids that can come in and fill those shoes, which is huge for them, man.
But I think that puts the veteran, and even here's another perspective. They're actually going to put the veterans on high alert too. Like, look, it can be replaced. They proved it within the last year. I think they say like 9 or 10 out of 11 were absolutely productive or had something. It was a high number. I'm like, that's not normal.
You can't have a slump on this defense because they got guys that can step in and fill that spot. Why they get Drew Tranquil if they was just like, all right, we're not gonna have a drop off between Bolton and Gay. Nah, we're gonna go get Drew, you know what I'm saying, just in case Willie not on. God forbid one of them get hurt. You know what I'm saying?
Or Leo Chanel don't take that next step.
Yeah.
That was the beauty of having successful secondary because if the secondary wasn't that successful, there's no way to go out there with Tranquil.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real quick, we got a question from Aaron Roach. He said, what's y'all thoughts on how the Chiefs would do this season?
Go ahead, Mark.
They'll be fine. I expect them to be among the elite. I mean, it's proven. I think the question, and that's more so of a later segue to another discussion, I think just more so the focus element, which I think will still be intact because a lot of the veterans there, it's like you had the opportunity to run it back, and obviously they fell short. They ran into a beast, and more so, I'm gonna say more so the beast was more injuries more than anything because he got to the Super Bowl and then their line was depleted. But I think that focus element, and you had it coming off the COVID year and blah blah blah, and what that was going to look like, but. I think we'll go into more into that when we get to the next time, but I think they'll be just fine.
Me personally, I think it's either a 14-3 or 13-4 win team, and I don't know how it shakes. I mean, maybe it depends on how big of a gap there is between them and the rest of the AFC, you know what I'm saying, that they can let their foot off of the gas a little bit. But I definitely think it's a 14-3, 13-4 record team. Just locking up first place is going to be the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be okay with them, just conceding. I mean, obviously, we want that AFC title game always to be an Arrowhead.
Of course.
But any true champ can do it on the road too. So I don't think that this team is while that's something that they always want to accomplish. I think they just like, let's just get there and handle business like we always handle it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you can't. I mean, while you want to get wrapped up in it, you know, think about the additions from other teams and the reason why.
Let's crack them.
What's up with it, bud? But yeah, like I think it's gonna be business as usual. You know what I mean? Like they the champs for a reason. They've done this. You know what I'm saying? Like they are the team with the most experience right now, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been there, 3 times now?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else that's won one that's still in the league has only been there once. So they're the team with the most experience. You got to give them that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
It's New England all over again.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like you said, 14-3, 14-2, 13-4. You know, we all expect them to win the division as usual per part. You know what I'm saying? Do am I sitting here saying, do I think the Broncos might be a little bit better? Of course, Sean Payton's a very good coach.
Yeah.
Do I think the Chargers will be better with Kellen Moore calling the plays? Yes, I do think they'll be better. The Raiders are going to be trash. I'm sorry. I've never liked Josh McDaniels.
Yeah.
I've never liked him. They don't know if Jimmy G's going to even be healthy for the season. He might not even start. He might be on the PUP list. Like
Josh Jacobs, uncertainty with Josh Jacobs if he gonna play.
So
it's a bad situation in Vegas.
Yeah, so I expect us to win this division, and I expect us to be right there in the AFC Championship again. And
the Arrowhead Invitational still intact.
That's my expectations. I'm sorry, they spoiled us. We spoiled over here, man. You can't give us 5 straight. And be
think about perspective. Like they could get the number 2. Hell, they could even get to number 3 and still end up playing this John right back in Arrowhead. Still, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not gonna lie though. It's like the crazy part. We're so spoiled that we forget that Patrick Mahomes has yet to play a road game in the playoffs.
I don't think they bothered by it though.
That's crazy. I think
they're looking forward to it. I really think they're looking forward to it.
I think
you know, Andy loves a challenge. You know, Pat loves a challenge. You know.
Oh, he got to play a road game. That's usually how they think too. He never played a road game, so we don't know what to expect. Really,
business as usual. So.
Right. I mean, they were 14-3 last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I expect more of the same because realistically, even the 3 that they lost. I mean, we talk about the combined total, how much they lost by, but it was just more so how they lost too. And the common denominator between all 3 of those games really was one key turnover and a special teams gaff. That's typically how it was. And one of those games was Indy, so easy we could have said that we could have been 15-2 last year.
Yeah,
but like I said, I still agree. I think they're probably going to be. If we had to put a record on there, I'll be bold and say 14-3. They can still finish on that. I mean, barring no injuries and all that stuff. And the biggest scare we had was with Patrick Mahomes was him being that ankle injury.
Yeah.
But if he was able to still get it done with an ankle injury, I'm not bothered.
And we get D-Hop now.
Then that's what, you know what? If we get D-Hop, we're going to have to start to mute that whole pursuit of perfection. I don't want to even remotely talk about that.
Nobody.
D-Hop comes. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. D-Hop comes. Pat probably throws for 50.
He breaking Peyton record?
I think it'll be 58.
He breaking Peyton record?
Yeah, easy.
I'd love to see it.
He can too. I strongly believe it. D-Hop comes. Listen, that means you don't need to run the football ever. Number 1. Number 2, Patrick is dissecting that fast and processing that quick. Like, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? Travis over 100, D-Hop over 100. MVS is going to grab at least 70, 80. Then you got Sky Moore with 65, like 5,800 easy. He'll have that 5,800 by week 15.
Yeah.
If
we get D-Hop, it might be the greatest season from a team ever.
I just want to get to a point where we get to the fourth quarter and we pretty much just chilling, just ain't got no sweat beads coming down the side of my face.
Yeah, man. That's where the defense comes in at. But let's segue. Justin Reed. He was in an article recently, and he was talking about this year's team, and he said, honestly, the page is already turned. We're out there working, chasing another championship. Every year is different. We got an even bigger target on our back than last year. We get to enjoy that moment as far as the mentality in the room. We're working to continue this dynasty, and we'll do what we did last year and not just rest on our laurels. We are right now light years ahead of where we were last year at this time. It's really exciting. And that's something I wanted to touch on and Mark touched on it a little bit, when we won the Super Bowl against San Francisco in that following year. And mind you, there was way more veterans. You still had Tyrann Mathieu, you had Frank Clark. It was veterans all around. You know what I'm saying? So, say about Anthony Hitchens. Anthony Hitchens was a veteran. They had some guys that were veteran leaderships back then. And we go like 15 and what we go 15-1 that year, 15-2?
2, I think.
But it was just that year you could tell they were sleepwalking through the season. Like there was games where they would just flip the switch and score like real quick, and then they would like win the game. But there was a lot of times where the game would be too close for comfort. Teams would be sticking around, and then it would just be like it just seemed like Patrick and then would be like, all right, y'all, we gotta start playing, y'all. And then they would just him, Tyreek, and all them would just rattle off like touchdowns like this quick. And I'm wondering, do you guys see that from this team being that they're younger? You know what I'm saying? Can you see them kind of being like, we can sleepwalk and still turn it up? Or do you see them coming out with more so youthful energy and like, nah, man, we got to keep this going. Like, I want to taste that Super Bowl again.
I think kudos to Andy, to Pat, Chris, Frank, everybody that was there going into training camp last year, because they set a precedence of how business is handled, how things get done. So you're going to go into this year's training camp, and it's going to be all business. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody's taking their foot off the gas because now they know how to win it. They know how hard they got to work in order to be at the top at the end of the year. You know what I'm saying? So they know anything less of what they did last year is not going to get them the end result that they want. They know what it takes to win that ring. They know how the highs and the lows, the peaks in between, like they got it. They know what to expect. So they won't be blindsided by nothing this year. So that's why I don't think you'll see a lot of swagger. You know what I'm saying? Like you ain't gonna have cats coming out there with their chest all poked out like we the champs. Like y'all gotta play, y'all gotta bring y'all A game in order to beat us. Like they know they're gonna have to play twice as good this year because now they are the hunted again. They were the hunted last year, but you had the Rams who had won a ring. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they moved back in that list of teams that needed to get their ass kicked. But now they won this ring. Like everybody got them circled. Like, yeah, we got to beat their ass, and we got to set a tone, and we got to handle it a certain kind of way to let everybody else know. Y'all see what we did to Kansas City? You can get this too. And you know, Pat and Travis, and Andy, Chris, they not finna let that happen. You know what I'm saying? We always say when they lose, it's because they beat themselves. You know what I'm saying? Go back to the Colts game. They beat themselves in that Colts game. No team ever comes in there and just flat out beat them, with the exception to that one game 2 years ago, the Sunday night game, Buffalo came into town. And even then, that was more on them because you had too many blown coverages. You know what I'm saying? Like, they beat themselves. It's
Number-
okay. It's okay.
Number 49 that remains nameless.
Oh no,
It's okay.
Infamous.
It's okay because they got 2 rings.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So you can live with that one. You know what I'm saying? I process that and I live with that a lot better. That entire team was dealing with a lot, from the COVID to the offensive line issues to the offense never getting on board fully throughout that entire year. Like, it was so much that you just kind of saw it. We just all thought they would just be able to squeak by and be able to win that one and then address everything. But we all knew that entire year it was a lot of problems. It was a lot of problems. That ass kicking in Nashville that year was evident.
I remember that game because
one touchdown. I think that game.
Yeah.
I remember that game because I had actually the night before I went out. I had a little bit too much to drink. I had a little bit too much to drink, and I wake up and my boy, shout out to my boy Jamal, he a big Titans fan, and I see my text message, tighten up. I'm like, wait, what's going on? I turned the game on. I'm like, what is going on here?
I mean, just inconsistent football that whole year. That Panthers game that year was a little shaky. You know what I'm saying? The Jets game was a little shaky. Like, they just never had their foot in that entire year. You know
that Atlanta game, we should have lost.
Yes.
We should have lost that game. We got lucky.
Yes, bro. Yes. I just don't see that out of this team, though. You know what I'm saying? Justin Reed has his mental wrapped around the fact that appreciating what he's got. Coming from Texans where they can't get to the playoffs to coming to Kansas City and getting a Super Bowl ring. You know what I'm saying? Like, George, that extra time he had with Frank last summer. You know what I mean? He knows how to be a leader. Trent, in my opinion, I think Trent was always groomed to be a lockdown, top-notch corner in this league. From the way he conducts himself, everything. He's a pro's pro. Like, I don't see a drop-off. No,
I don't either.
First of all, I mean, even to add on to that, Reed, I think I saw the maturity to on him throughout this. Like, even go back to the first time they played Cincinnati and all that stuff. He was yapping his trap and stuff like that. Like, you talking like you've been part of like this whole thing, but last year you just got here. I just need you to shut up, and I think his focus was not there. Completely different story when they played him the second time around. It's like, obviously we know the secondary, it really came on them to step up, and they did what they're supposed to do. So even shout out to Justin Reed as far as how he handled himself as far as with that interview. Second, even just dealing with this team in general, the schedule, the expectations and everything, that was nothing but fire pretty much that was put to them. As far as with them being picked to be third or possibly last, everybody was talking about the whole thing, with Devontae Adams going over there and the Broncos improved, and we always know about that talk about the Chargers and everything. The Chargers going to win it. This is going to be their year. We've been saying that for the last 10, 15 years. It's still the same results. And then, and for this part, also on the other side, and also let's talk about this. You can throw out the low expectations of Bolton too. Nobody talked about him. I think me and Chris talked about it before last year. You said the expectation for Bolton. I said I would not be surprised if he was among the leaders in tackles, and he came up number 2. Could have been number 1, but obviously, Jacksonville, they had to do their thing too. But the schedule is what prepared them, I think, to even get to this moment. It's like as far as them having one of the toughest schedules out the gate, they were like, I think it was the first time in history where they had faced all the previous teams, like the first 8 games were against previous playoff opponents. That was one. They were one of the few teams where they had to go, I think 2 or 3 teams where they had to have 3 consecutive road games. They pretty much had every obstacle thrown at them, and then the possibility of what could have happened in the playoffs had the Bills done their job, but we know what happened there. So everything that was possibly thrown at them, especially with these rookies and everything that you could have thrown at them, every wrench you could have done to discourage them, but for them to win the championship at it all, it just pretty much shows that no matter what the expectation is, they're going to blow right through it. So I believe this team is going to be fine. They still got their coaching staff intact. I mean, granted, the enemy's going to do their thing, but I think they'll be just fine as long as Reed, as long as you got a coach like Reed. And everybody love playing for that man. He's like, you don't hear much like negative or anything to say about him, but they'll be fine. They'll still be taking care of business. They'll still be running the division. they'll be just fine. But for Justin Reed, with him, as far as I have high expectations, even with the safety, I will say this: I had a few concerns with the safety position, like from the first half, but then it started to click. I probably say like right around like that final third. So I'm like, okay, that's it. They're gonna be just fine. They're gonna do what they do, and they took care of business, did with everything accordingly.
Yeah, I agree. I'm excited for this team, especially this defense. That's what I'm excited for, to see what this defense can do with all these young guys coming back. And then they added to it with the Charles Omenihu. You get FAU in the draft, who, as a pass rusher in college at K-State, he was a little light years ahead of George. Like, George had to learn moves. This kid got moves. So if he can be a rotational pass rusher and come in, like, I don't know, we might be number one in sacks this year. Like, especially when Chris get his deal done, he gonna get paid. He gonna be feeling good. He gonna go out there and try to get the sack rate. He's already talking about he wants to be defensive player of the year. So, and usually when Chris says something, he go after it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited for this defense. I think Justin Reed, he's already established himself as the leader in that room. He's taking that Tyrann Mathieu role and you know what I'm saying, put it on his jacket. So I'm like I said, I'm excited. And I don't think this team is going to rest on their laurels. I think Patrick and Travis and all them, they're not going to let that happen. So
Boog put, we get D-Hop, 07 Pats. Like, and for real, I think it would actually be a possibility too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe sacrifice one L, and that's just strictly because, trying to get him a week off. But even then, like, do you give them an extra week off when they got the bye and everything anyway? You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the conundrum they would be faced with. Like, do we want to sit them and, let them get this bye, and then they come back, maybe they a little rusty, they a little off, team to jump out on them 21-0 again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't have it both ways. You're going to have to give up something, but I'm just saying, like, I kind of agree with Boogie on this. Like, they probably could challenge that 07 team and be like, we doper. You know what I'm saying? Just flat out, we doper. You know what I mean? Like,
and I'm gonna tell you something. I know Bug don't like hearing this, because anytime we talk about Patrick Mahomes being better than Tom Brady, he don't like that type of talk. But I'm gonna tell you right now, you let Patrick Mahomes go have an undefeated season, something that Tom Brady couldn't finish. Oh no! Might have a conversation.
That's about to be a different. Yeah, it's gonna be a whole different conversation. We're gonna have a whole different parade. We're gonna be doing a whole.
It can happen though. You know what I'm saying? It can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a real possibility. Adding a D-Hop to this equation, it could potentially get you that. You feel me? Like, Pat's like that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you right now, if that last game of the season and there was 17, would be 17-0, 17-0, and they got to play the Chargers, I guarantee you, Patrick gonna be like, "Nah, we playing this game."
Yeah. Let's get this one. You know what I'm saying?
We playing this game.
Absolutely.
We playing this game. I'm getting this. I'm gonna try to get this record.
So hold up. So Boogie think that Tom Brady is the GOAT of all GOATs?
Yeah.
Come on, Boogie. You know better. You know better, bro. Come on. Don't do this. Don't do this.
There would be absolutely no discussion. The Chiefs would have run the table all the way,
bro. I'm just saying. Don't do this.
Yeah. They get D-Hop. I guarantee you, they going 17-0 and running all the way to the Super Bowl.
How many they put up a game?
They'll do some Tom ain't do. That's right.
How many they put up a game?
That's right, Boogie. That's right, Boogie. You heard it. They'll do something that Tom can't do. Tom ain't do.
How many they putting up a game if they do get D-Hop?
They put 35 at least.
Yeah, I'd say they'd average 35. Because it'd be too easy. No lead for another team would be safe. They'd be able to cut them leads just like that again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now you talking about a dude that's what, year 7? Is this year 7? Talking about a dude that's year 7, can process defenses so fast. Like, you listen to Travis talk about the way he processes. He's processing so fast, and his memory is so on point when it comes to defenses that he's seen before. Like, he's still going back to defenses he saw his rookie year. Like, oh yeah, I saw this my rookie year. I know this, boom, 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 boom. So he's able to process, digest, and get the ball out where it needs to go on time, all the time. Like, he's operating on a totally different level.
Bro,
totally different.
We can officially say now we're talking about a quarterback now that's entering into his prime. I personally don't think he's entered into his prime yet.
No, I mean, he's
crazy.
Like, the game is moving like this to you.
Yes, bro. Yes, dog.
Whereas when we was out there, that'd be moving like this with Patrick. He like, oh, wide open.
Yes.
And you add to the fact that he got an arm like Dan Marino. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got the athleticism where he can do all kinds of crazy stuff and throw it off platform. Like, that's scary, bro. That you got to deal with that.
No little passes.
Dude, that's cerebral up here. But he can do all that other athletic stuff. So he can run when he need to run, throw it off his back foot 50 yards, 60 yards down the field. Like, that's crazy, man. That's still crazy to me, though. We got that guy in Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah. You can take Veach.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
They try to take his credit away from him, but you know.
Imagine what would have happened had Andy said, we're gonna wait a year before Ken Dorsey steps down. We're gonna give him one more year. That's all. That's the biggest difference. 1 year is the difference, because if he stays a year longer, we don't get Pat. We don't get Pat if he stays one more year longer.
Yeah, he had already messed up the cap.
Yeah. And the best part about it was, from the way they tell the story, Veach had his eye on Pat from the moment he saw him play at Texas Tech. Which was, from the way the story is always told, is told from the point that he wanted Pat before he had even stepped into his promotion. Like, he was trying to convince Andy and Dorsey about Pat. You know what I'm saying? And for whatever reason, they ignored it, didn't trust it, whatever. Then Ken Dorsey gets fired. Veach steps into that role, and immediately the first thing he does is locks up Pat.
Yeah.
Like, he knew he wanted Pat for like 2 years from the way the story is told.
Yeah. He was showing film to Andy and John Dorsey and all them, and
and it's hard because you got to think about it too. Like, Texas Tech wasn't a juggernaut. No. It was all on Pat's arm.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I'm saying? The wins, the losses, it was all on number 5. You know what I mean?
Bro, they had scores. They had scores of like 35 to 60. Like.
Yeah. Like,
that's why I say his first year when he first started, he was so used to playing with a bad defense. Like, this was nothing new to him. Like, that's what I do.
For real.
So Patrick Mahomes, he's gonna be breaking some milestones this year. He's gonna have his 200 passing TDs. He's at 192 right now. And then by the time the year's out, he's gonna be in the top 50 list in passing TDs, career-wise.
Yeah.
You're a long way to go to catch Breeze and Brady, obviously. Yeah. Because how many, I mean, depending on D-Hop and everything, how many passing touchdowns are we expecting this year?
Without D-Hop, I say 43, 44.
Yeah, about in the 40s. Yeah.
With D-Hop, I think it's 56.
Mm-hmm.
So we expect him to be in the top 40 pretty much in passing TDs by the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
We expect him.
Yeah.
And who knows? There's still active people in there. He probably gonna pass up Derek Carr and Ryan Tannehill the way it's looking this year.
Like, think about it like this. Okay. Remember last year after the Titans game, I was so upset because Pat had threw the ball 60 plus times and they didn't even offer to run the football. D-Hop comes in. You don't need to run the football at all if you don't want to. You don't, and you'll be just fine. You would still have 13, 14 wins. You still have top 5 offense in the league. You still averaging 30 plus points a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's with no identity of a running game. That's no Pop getting busy. That's no Clyde, no Jarek, no Prince. Nobody running the football every week, maybe 3 times a game.
Mm-hmm.
And you would still be able to dominate.
Mm.
You would still be able to dominate.
Yeah.
That's how impressive this is, man.
I just want to know if they get D-Hop and we get to the red zone, can Patrick Mahomes throw a good fade ball as opposed to these stupid trick plays I hate seeing that give me heart attacks? That's all I want to know.
I think it's just based off of how they feel. Like the plays that they call and the shit that they do, like I think it's just they just get bored and just be wanting to try shit. I don't think it's, off of anything other than let's just try some shit because we just
right.
Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because
mm-hmm.
You got deep drag routes, you got slant routes, you got angle routes, you got all of these route variations that you could be throwing at people. And you intentionally make it that much harder for yourself to score.
Right.
When you do a trick play. Like it's just that's how great they are though.
Andy Reid is acting like he called these plays and everything like he ain't afraid to empty the chamber. I think it's an unlimited chamber of trick plays and everything. I'm like, why?
It is.
My gripe has always been with the trick plays is can we go up like 2 scores, 3 scores, and then do the trick play? Like don't do it and we down 10 and then you want to do the little trick play. Like, come on, Andy.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's like Pat said, he got to make it exciting TV, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Got to make it exciting. You know what I'm saying?
That's the entertainment clause of that.
I don't never win a blowout, man.
Yeah.
I always keep it close, man. I gotta
what needs.
And then you think about it, when's the last blowout that you had?
Maybe the San Francisco game. And I wouldn't even call that a blowout.
I was close in the first half.
It was close in the first half, and then they just pulled away.
See? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I think for how talented they are, they haven't like consistently just been blowing teams out. That's
Did we blow out the Raiders the last game?
Yeah. Raiders got blown out.
I mean, they were running trick play there. That's when they did that ring around the road. Everybody was they called it snow blow.
They called it snow blow.
I called it the Raider roulette. And I was making my own names for the play. That's how bad it was.
And then homeboy from the Broncos got mad. I think that's just so disrespectful. Then stop it.
Don't get blown out.
Get your 11 guys on your
defense. You talking about balls?
He was a lineman. He was an O lineman for the Broncos.
Bowles. It was him.
Was it Garrett Bowles?
It was him.
Yeah.
And also he's talking about how close it was when we were playing the Chiefs. I think it was like 2 seasons ago. He said something crazy.
Yeah. Listen, then stop him. Y'all got a problem with how they conduct business, then stop them. You know what I'm saying? But if it was their team, they would feel like somebody's just being a hater. You know what I'm saying? Now it's a problem because it's the Chiefs doing it to y'all. You know what I'm saying?
5
But I
years.
remember Terrell Davis running into the end zone and saluting the crowd and saluting his teammates, and all kinds of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Rod Smith,
Rod
and
Smith showing his ass.
Ed McCaffrey kicking
Yeah.
asses every
Neil Smith came back playing for the Broncos, and he doing his baseball swing on us. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember all of that. You know what I'm saying? Rich Gannon and the Raiders come to town, and they just disrespect. Like, I remember all of that. So now it's a problem because Kansas City running y'all ain't going to be running y'all for the next 15 years. Like, y'all done wasted talent and picks just to sit there and take this ass whooping every year.
Mm-hmm.
Get out the division.
The last disrespectful
Get
thing
out.
Go play in the South. Go play in the South.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't like it? Then get out. There's the door. Get out.
The Raiders never recovered ever since they stood on the logo.
Yeah. See?
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs are wrong.
I still remember that game.
Yeah, I remember that game too.
That game was funny.
Yeah. I don't know.
The logo in the bus victory lap.
From the opening snap.
I think that was that whole year, because that was COVID year. Like, I think that was just a COVID thing, because I remember Malcolm Butler going to Baltimore and stepping on the Ravens logo when the Titans and the Ravens played. Like, they almost started fighting before that game started. I'm like, this had to be some COVID shit, because everybody was doing that year. Like, everybody stepping on somebody's logo. Your couch, nachos, or hot dogs. You know what I'm saying?
Getting their Ray
soda
James
flat. Got too much water in the soda in this. Get my pellet rifle so I can shoot that horse on the Bud Light commercial, Coors Light, all that. Tell you, man, it was just out of control that year.
Yeah, it was out of control. What we talking about?
I mean, this is the last week, man. How y'all feeling about it?
Yeah, Chiefs been running the West. They only had 3 losses, I think, in the Mahomes era, and 2 of them against the Chargers, and one of them was against the Raiders.
Yeah,
because the Chargers game, that was when they had Sutton, and they were all out of whack on defense. In the end of that one,
don't talk about Bob Sutton on this podcast.
And then the other, right? And then the other one was with all those turnovers. That was proof all those games were self-inflicted right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was a horrible defense, but the
defense was god awful, man.
We had Orlando Scandrick, that defense was bad.
Atrocious, man. Then he got mad. Don't have nowhere to go and get mad at something that Shannon say to him. Shannon ain't going to tell you the truth.
He said, "Why are you sitting here? Go play 13 years." No, you got torched.
Tell him the truth.
Why you ain't help him out? Why you ain't getting no stops?
You got torched.
Yeah, Orlando Scandrick sit his ass down.
Yeah, for real.
He was decent. He was decent at best and give it to Cowboys.
Play 12
years.
Back
when he was with Dallas, he was a lot better in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be one of them in Dallas.
Yeah. He had some moments in Dallas.
He did. He really did.
He came to the Chiefs. It was all over.
Yeah, it was over with. It was over with.
Well, there was a report out. The 33rd put out a thing where they did the AI and they put out the top fan bases in the NFL.
Mm.
Now, Kansas City, as you look on the graph, they're at number 3. Pittsburgh's number 1, Green Bay's number 2, Buffalo's number 4, Seattle's number 5, Philly's 6, New Orleans 7, Baltimore 8, Cleveland 9, Chicago 10. Now, I feel like as much as I can't stand their asses, the Raiders should be higher. And I think Dallas should be higher. I think San Francisco should be higher too. What are your first? Let's tackle. How do y'all feel about the Chiefs being number 3 fan base?
Who they put ahead of the Chiefs?
Pittsburgh and Green Bay.
Nah.
Chiefs are
I
still
mean,
out of stadium.
the record still stands, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the record that's at Arrowhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure, if it's in Guinness Book World Record, how can you say those two teams are better?
I think it's because of the terrible towels and the cheese head and all that mess. Now let's see how good Green Bay looks when they ain't got Aaron Rodgers out there.
Now we talking. Now we talking, buddy.
Let's see how good that fan base is when you ain't got that.
Yeah.
You ain't got
Now
number
we
12
talking,
out
buddy.
there.
Yes, sir. Talk to him, Chris.
Let Jordan Love lose some games.
Mm-hmm. He gonna be everything but his name.
We'll see how many cheese heads is out there.
You know what I'm saying? He'll be everything but his name.
Oh boy! So Pittsburgh, I kind of get Pittsburgh. Now I don't think they're better than us, but Pittsburgh's a top 5 fan base, definitely. They support the Steelers regardless of what is on that field. They gonna show up and they show out and they travel. They do travel.
That front office does everything they need to do and everything to make sure they keep their fans satisfied anyway. There's they don't have losing records. They never had a losing record with Tom. I can't even think of the last time they had a losing record, period, in their organization. I cannot think or recall a time.
It's been a long while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from Chuck Norris to Coward to Tomlin, it's like they've been the staple of consistency.
Yep.
So I'm not mad at Pittsburgh. Green Bay is a good fan base, but like I said, y'all done had some breaks, man.
I wonder how much of that has to do with tradition.
Yeah, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
they were one of the old school teams from the old NFL, and I get it. Vince Lombardi, we hold him in high regard.
But if your team has the record for being the loudest stadium in the National Football League, I think the discussion has to start there. Yeah. When you talk about best fan bases and things like that, if your stadium has the Guinness Book of World Record for the loudest, I think number one, it should automatically start with that team because they have proven that it is too difficult to play there. And you've heard players say that their ears are ringing, they have headaches days after that game is over, like the ground is trembling, like it affects everything. It is not an easy place to win. Just ain't, man.
Yeah.
So Kansas City gotta be number one in my book. And that's not just biased. I mean, I don't like the Gators, but I remember a time when the Swamp used to be unbearable for college football teams.
Yeah.
Swamp used to be rough.
Yeah, I agree. No, I got Kansas City number one. Like I said, I always, as much as we think they're delusional, I think the Dallas Cowboys should be higher. I think the Raiders should be higher, even though they lose.
When it was in Oakland, definitely.
Yeah, you're right. San Francisco, I think, should be higher. There's a lot of 49er fans. I got a whole bunch of friends that love the 49ers. They got a big fan base. So I don't know, man. Seattle, have they been the 12 men since Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom left and all them? Like, do we like look at Seattle and be like, their fan base is crazy?
You said Seattle?
Yeah.
I would put Seattle up there because remember, think about it. It was going back and forth between them and us on the world record shit. You know what I'm saying?
But that was back when they had the Legion of Boom. And
that was back when they had the Legion of Boom. Not the same no more.
Like before then, like even when they was in the division, like we never looked at Seattle like, oh, that fan base is crazy. Like, no, like they was more Seattle Supersonic fans. You know what I'm saying? A Mariner fan, like they were.
Where'd they put the Eagles at?
They were number 3. What was that?
Nah, they had
3,
4 or 5.
Yeah, it was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Philly has a good fan base. They crazy as hell.
Yeah, they do.
They're ready to boot you in a heartbeat, though.
They'll beat you up.
They'll boot the fans. They'll tell you the truth. But that's an all sports period, though. That's how Philly is. whether it be Sixers basketball or football or even in baseball. They'll let you have it as a player. They gonna let them know.
Yeah.
You thought how the New York Yankees did that outfielder like 2 years ago was bad? Nah, they ready to get you out of there. Ben Simmons is a prime example, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. What about the Bears?
The number 10.
Number 10. I thought Cincinnati was 10.
Mm-mm.
So where
The
they
Raiders should have been higher though. They should be a little bit higher. I mean, despite they may be trash.
Okay, Chicago 10. Where's Cincy at? 20. Okay, that's right.
But the Raiders and Cowboys should be higher though.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
As annoying as they are, they still should be higher.
They should be higher.
What about? Let's see. So we got Philly. Minnesota is trash, in my opinion.
I mean, they got their little skull.
Yeah. Where'd they put Detroit? 17?
Mm-hmm.
But when Detroit is winning, like that dome is hard to play in. Remember the last time Kansas City went there, they just barely made it out.
Yeah, that was when Kelsey played McCoy.
Turned that fumble, like it's a totally different ball game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Tampa, nah, not so much. Lambeau. Back when Brett Favre was there, I felt like Green Bay was a lot tougher.
Oh, of course.
Than they was during A-Rod.
I agree. Because back when they had Reggie White and all them, yeah, of course.
Leroy Butler, Terrell Buckley. Yeah. I hated them jokers, man. Because they beat the Niners. They went 2 candlestick and beat them that year. Brett Favre. I think that was the year they went to the Super Bowl, too. Because they turned around and had to go to they played Dallas. I think they got Dallas, too, that year. Let me think. Hold on. Green Bay played. Yeah. Because they lost. No, they beat the Patriots that year in the Super Bowl. Then they turned around and they got them. They beat the Niners again that next year. And that's when they lost to the Broncos.
Why?
Yeah. We need to break our own record. There's a lot of. I agree with that. Ron. I agree with that, my brother. So I think we need to break our own record. Facts.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
what you gonna do to make it through the rest of this week, man?
Work. Work.
Boy, down bad, man. That's the last week, though, dog. We're here, bro.
You going to the training camp?
At some point, yeah. I'm gonna try to hit it. I want to try to get up there.
I was looking up tickets too, man. Like,
how much the ticket?
They weren't that bad. It was like one something.
But my thing is, dog, like I want to go, but I would rather slide up there like during the week than on the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Because on the weekend, everybody and their mama gonna be there, dog.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was looking at trying to get up there like on a Monday. On a Monday.
Yeah.
So not everybody's gonna be up there, Clarence. Your boy Chief Aholic ain't gonna be there.
Oh yeah, he got arrested.
He wasn't never my partner. You know what I'm saying? I ain't rolling. If you decide to slide, though, let me know. For real. Like,
yeah, I'll let you know. But I'm gonna try. And
go up there, man, because I'd rather go, like I said, during the week than on the weekend. Saturday. But the last time I went up there on a Saturday was actually the first Super Bowl run. Out of control.
I bet.
No seats in the stands, none of that. Now, mind you, used to go every year up until Alex's last year in Kansas City. Always there. Always great seats. Always great seats. Patcom, boy, you can't get no seats nowhere. Everybody smell like alcohol. And I'm gonna shut up.
All right, fella.
Yeah,
All right.
we got one more week, dog. One more week, bro.
Yeah.
We got one more. We made it. We here now.
Yeah, man. Let's get it.
We here.
Get this Chris Jones deal done. Let's get D-Hop, baby.
Got to, because next week training camp start. Y'all got NFL Network, Chris? You got NFL Network?
I got it.
I do.
Yeah, just keep the TV on that station 24/7. Starting next week. Don't turn it.
Watching them training camps, man. You know,
Yeah, dog. I watch all of it.
I'm gonna put that 20-0 banner somewhere discreet.
You ain't gotta be discreet about it. Say it with your chest.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, all right, fellas, let's go ahead and land this thing. If you look down at the bottom, you see the link. Every Morning Quarterback, our sponsor, emqpodcast.com/locker-room. If you go there, you'll see the locker room access of all the podcasts. It's under the Every Morning Quarterback umbrella. They got a 49er one, a Patriots one, a Jets one, and they got ours, Arrowhead Chief Podcast. Click on the banner. You see all of our episodes from the past to the recent ones. Go ahead and subscribe. Then they got their own YouTube channel. Actually, they're starting to spark it back up. They had went on a little rest, but they're about to start sparking it back up when the season comes. So go ahead and check out their YouTube channel at EMQ Podcast. They talk about everything league wide. They talk about college football, and they give betting tips for the week. So go ahead and check them out. And whatever streaming platform that you use, go ahead and check out the Arrowhead Chief Podcast. We're on all of them, from Spotify to Apple to Google to Stitcher, Anchor, Breaker, all of them. We on all of them, baby. We're on all of them. And whatever social media platform you use, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok, go ahead and hit that follow button. We will follow you back. Because, Clarence, what's our motto?
We're not Hollywood, but if we win the Super Bowl this year,
we might be. We might be on a whole nother atmosphere.
It'll be considered upper crust.
Yeah.
Win this one this year.
Anything else is unacceptable.
Yo.
You know. Just talk to us nice and normal. Just know that. Talk to us nice and normal. And if you got any feedback, any questions, anything y'all want to throw at us, hit us up, man. We'll interact with you because we are fans just like you, and we want to give you the best Chiefs content that we can give y'all. So
we fans, but we're not foolish.
Exactly. Ty's not here, so we can't send Ty to come beat y'all up.
Send the kid over there.
Send the kid over there.
Send the kid to come handle y'all.
So it's all good. All right, fellas. Until next time.
Hopefully we'll have a contract signing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yep.